Hi, my name is John Dew, and I am the host of the Wholehearted Man Show. Today, I'm going to be talking to you about what being a wholehearted man does for you. I made a list of 9 things that I believe as you start to become more wholehearted, as you start to turn your life around, as you start to take these things into your life, you'll begin to experience new ways of being, new ways of thinking. And in this list of 9, each one builds upon the last. So as you start to get the first one and get momentum with it, then the second one comes along and into play, and you'll start to build off the previous one. So let's go ahead and jump right into it and talk about it. Okay. So number 1, creates self-confidence. So when you're wholehearted, when you are learning to step up in this world and be a man of value, a boy of value. I mean, this can definitely start early, and it can go all the way, to no matter how old you are. There's no bad or wrong time to begin practicing these things, and it's never too late to begin practicing these things. But I want to talk to anybody who wants to actually have a shift in their lives so that they can experience living in a way that allows your life basically to be easier. And these are built off of having certain values, certain tools, certain understanding of how life works. And so, like I said, the first one is create self-confidence. So what do I mean by that? Because you hear that term thrown around a lot. Well, you just, you need more confidence, or, you got to create self-confidence in yourself. You got to love yourself to have more confidence. I think there's a certain part of that where you have a mindset that I'm going to work on my self-confidence, that I'm going to try to maybe be more assertive or operate in a way that gets me more of what I want, assuming you're not spilling over into the think of, I'm going to just be an asshole and I'm going to be, a jerk to get more of what I want. We're talking, a different approach of just you looking inside of you to become more stable, more secure, and more self-confident. Okay, so what does that look like? Self-confidence. Self-confidence is not when you walk into a room and you're like, look at me, I'm the man, I'm the shit. I can handle this. I got this watch. I got these clothes. I got this girl. I got this car. That's not self-confidence. That's bravado. That's ignorance. And that's arrogance. When you walk into a room, it's more like I'm walking into this room going, I know that I can handle myself in a social situation. I know that I can talk to a girl, and if I get rejected, that's okay. I know that if something went down, I'd be able to handle myself. I have confidence in myself, which really translates into I trust myself. So how many of you out there can say you really trust yourself at the end of the day? I know I, for the longest time, couldn't really trust myself. There were certain things that I knew I could trust myself on, certain basics, like surviving and always paying my bills and getting a job and working hard no matter what. But I didn't know what to do. My self-confidence crumbled when I was in the relationship part of life, or the relationship even just within my family or friends. I didn't know how to act, and I didn't know how to operate in a manner that allowed me the best possible outcome. So when you walk into a room and you're confident in yourself and you look at yourself and you're like, I believe in myself. I trust myself in just about any situation I can imagine to do the right thing, to act the right way, to be able to create the outcome I desire, then I think you got it pretty much down. Now, being able to do that, though, is a different thing. That sounds great. But being able to achieve that comes from doing. Like I said at the beginning, we can talk about these things and get it set in your mind that this is what I want to do and this is what I want to achieve. You can think about even how I want to behave in these situations. And I think that's extremely useful to be able to put forth in your mind what a situation looks like. In other words, to be able to practice for a situation before it even happens. To say, you're going to walk up to a girl and, generally you're nervous and, we all are. and that's fine, and it's okay to be nervous. But you walk up to that girl and you ask her out, and she says no. And so, you've seen probably those people like, well, whatever, I didn't want to do anything, or she's probably, she's probably lesbian, or she's whatever, just the stupid stuff guys have said that they make excuses in their head for why this person rejected them. I mean, there can be so many things going on. It could literally not be you. It could be you. It could be the way you approached her, the way you said. I mean, it could be all the above. But the key is to learn off of that experience so you can apply that forward to the next experience. And that's why having this in your head as to how you want to act, how you want to be around other people is crucial if you want to gain that self-confidence, because you've got to, again, practice for a situation that has not happened yet, or the inverse. You can look at a situation that has happened already, how you didn't act the best, and you can go back and you can think about, how could I have better handled that? And it just takes practice. At the end of the day, self-confidence comes from the doing, from being able to do something. And I suggest that you start small, because confidence is built upon the last bit of self-confidence making act that you did, that's built on the next self-confident act that you do, so that you can build upon this. And all this leads to ultimately feeling good and being able to trust yourself. So if you're going out and you're trying to ask that girl out, and you go up and you handled it pretty good, and when she said no, you handled that fairly well, and you didn't take it personally, that breeds more confidence. So the next time you walk up and you ask a girl to dance, to go out, a cup of coffee, whatever it is, or even just to talk to them, you're able to build upon the last experience and go, well, I didn't die. It wasn't the end of the world. It could be going with a family member. You may have a family member who's tough to deal with, who is, sometimes loses it or gets mad and what have you. And then when you're able to go, okay, I'm going into the holidays or an event or a party with this person, and I know kind of how they can be sometimes. So I'm prepared for that. So the preparing is good. That helps. But that can't ultimately give you self-confidence. Again, the self-confidence is in handling that situation. Sorry, I had to check and see if if I was recording this. Just dawned on me. Make sure I pressed the button. So you walk into this situation with this person, and you got it already in your head, potentially what you've seen in the past, what can happen, and then how you're going to handle it. So let's say something does flare up and you're handling it in a good manner. You're just calm. You're cool. You're not fueling a fire. You're not adding to it. You're not, fighting back. You've had it in your mind that I'm just going to observe kind of what's going on here. I'm just kind of going to take it in and go, okay. And let them do and be however they're going to want to be. Where in the past, you'd get all riled up. You'd instigate, you'd get in the middle of it, you'd fight with these people or this person, and then you would go away and everything's a big mess and all this time is spent. But if you handle it in a cool, calm, collective manner, and you leave that night going, yeah, everything's kind of okay on my side. I didn't do or say anything to instigate there's nothing to apologize for. Everything happened, and it's kind of on them. It's for them to deal with. And now I got a better way of looking at this situation. And you have that confidence in yourself that the next time you go into a situation, again, with friends, family, it could be your boss, it could be work, coworkers, it doesn't matter. Your children, it does not matter. Your spouse. So as you start to build these things within you, you build confidence. All right, number 2, create stability. So when you act in a wholehearted way, as you start to turn your life around, so to speak, or maybe it's not necessarily a complete turnaround, but as you start to add in these different ideas and ways of being, and you begin to pepper in these ideas into your everyday conversations, into your everyday way of thinking, things will change. And as you start to solidify your thinking, as you start to become more self-confident in yourself, that creates stability, or at least more stability in your life, or maybe some stability for the very first time. So as you, sorry, my dog just walked into the room. He's a noisy dog. you start to create this stability for yourself through the actions of the previous step, right? As I said, these will build on each other. So when you're getting more stability in your life, you're able to move forward. You're able to have less problems, right? You're able to have less stress because your life starts to become stable. And I think that's what a lot of us are missing, a stable platform from which to stand upon. And the platform of stability is built upon, I think, at least one of those legs is self-confidence. We'll go through others in a minute, but when you're standing on this platform, you've got to have a good solid base. You got to be able to stand on that. And that is built over time through hard work, self-reflection, being able to be vulnerable with yourself and talk to yourself and say, yeah, I screwed that up, or that was a better way, and quit blaming. Quit the bullshit of blaming everybody and everybody else for your problems. When you do that, it takes so much time away from where you could be and what you could be doing. You got to own it. You got to own it. And then when you own it, you accept it and you work on it and you deal with it and you keep moving forward and keep pushing that ball down the field. So, when you're creating stability in your life, that gives you a sense of peace. So, I'm going to go ahead and move on to number 3, which is able to deal with conflicts better. So as I told you back in the first one, as you're thinking about these things, about how to act with this person or that person, you are able to deal with conflicts with people better. So as you get the stability in your life and you get a little more sense of calm and peace about you, things come along in life that are trying to, tip you off that platform. You're able to deal with them properly with the right mindset, with the proper tools that we'll go into on how to handle, just about anything you can imagine. But there's also, those set of tools that go along with it. So you can pull out the right tool out of your shed and say, this is when I use this, and this is how I use this. So that's going to be in future videos. But I'm just trying to lay the framework and the groundwork right now for what being a wholehearted man will do for you, or a wholehearted person for that matter. This is not necessarily gender specific, but I am coming from the perspective of a man and kind of the struggles and things we deal with in this world. And so that'll become more relevant as we delve into these topics. So as you're able to deal with conflicts better, you've got some self-confidence, you've got some stability in your life, you're able to deal with conflicts better because you feel better about yourself, you trust yourself more. If somebody comes up to you and in the past they start calling you names, or they start creating trouble for you, and you're confident and you're like, yeah, no, you know what? Sorry, that doesn't work for me. I'm not going to allow you to sit here and put that on me. And you're able to rationally think about it. You're able to go through it in your mind and understand what's really going on in the situation and remain calm and mindful. That's more than half the battle right there. So as you deal with these conflicts better, that leads to creating a better sense of peace in your life. And peace so there's stability, which is starting to get on your feet, and that does carry some peace with it as you are able to now travel through the world or through life and the world with the ability to deal with conflicts better. And those conflicts can be with a spouse, with a girlfriend, with your kids, with work, with your friends, right? Same group, the same surroundings that we all have, that we all deal with. But when you're able to deal with those way more appropriately, that's going to create a better sense of peace in your life. And there's going to be those people that are causing problems and they're not really good for you and good to be in your life, and you need to let them go. And there's going to be others that just need a little understanding, a little empathy, a little help, maybe a kind little word and a little just ear to bend. And they're going to react differently, and they're going to be an ally for you. And as these people become allies and believe in what you're saying and understand that you're just trying to help and understand them, as they can really feel that, then like I said, that's going to create a better sense of peace in your life with those relationships with those people. There's some you can't help and there's nothing you can do about it, and it's not your job to fix. You can try a little bit. I mean, meaning as far as testing the waters, like, is this person needing this, or is he just unable to handle anything from me, any help from anybody, and he's just on a tear, and he's going to do what he's going to do, and then there's nothing you can do about it, and you have a decision to make at that point. Okay, let's see. Number 5, all this leads up to now being able to be happier and more centered. So you start to get a sense of happiness as you're able to go to sleep and wake up and know that you're acting in a proper way. Know that you've created routines in your life. You've created habits in your life. You're creating relationships and friends in your life, even in your work life, that is more positive, or that is a positive influence that is able to take you where you want to go in life. Now you're starting to head off in that direction that you're plotting, that you're charting, that you want to go to. You're not being swept along in life, and whatever happens, happens, and wherever you land up, you land. And again, we'll be talking about all this in much more depth in the future videos to come. But you're going to have, more happiness, because you're going to have that sense of peace, that sense of centeredness, that sense of balance, because you're going to begin to know who you are. So as you more and more begin to know who you are, the struggles start to be minimized, things start to be stabilized. Doesn't mean bad things aren't going to happen. Doesn't mean unfair things are going to happen or are not going to happen. But it means when life comes by and kicks you in the ass once in a while, you're better prepared for it. But then also when the day-to-day things come along and try to interfere with you, you're able to handle it and blow it off and brush it off, and it goes right by you, sailing right by you. Where you've seen people, right? They got a problem, they got an issue. It's right there front and center. It's in their face. It's a big deal. They're talking about it. They're making it way more than it is, and they're just beating their head against the wall. There used to be this old comic book. It was a strip and book called The Far Side. I'll never forget, there was this one. It was just simply this boy pushing up against this door, trying to get in, and it said, pull. And he's just, full body lean right up against that. And, damn it, he's getting in his way, when all he had to do was simply, pay attention to what's going on around him, pull the door open, walk through it, and move on. So a lot of times we do that in life. We take things and we make them and turn them way out of proportion. Excuse me. And so we spend all this time, all this energy, living in this space, spinning around, when so many other people are busy doing stuff. They're not getting butt hurt by things certain people say. They're just moving, and they're producing, and they're making things happen. And I don't necessarily mean producing, making money, because it's not all about the money. Like Anthony Robbins says, success without fulfillment is failure. So it's not about just the money. It's not about just the title and achieving everything. It's about kind of a more well-rounded life that you create for yourself. Okay, so the next thing, you're able to create and sustain better relationships that are more fulfilling. So as you build on these things, you're able to deal with conflicts better. You have a better sense of peace in your life. You're a happier person as a result of all this. You're able to sustain better relationships, and they become more fulfilling. Why? Because you're going to purposefully choose people around you that are also acting in that manner. So you're going to, if you're with someone, let's say you're a big sports fanatic, right? Sports fan, know all about sports, which I do not, but let's say you do, and you're going and you meet another guy who knows about sports, but the guy's like a big drunk. He's like chasing women, and the guy's married, and he's just, all over the place, and he's a slob and whatever. You have that part in common, but really at the end of the day, you're like, I don't know about this guy. I mean, there's too much baggage here of what's going on with him. I got to deal with all this other stuff. Juxtapose that with somebody who's a sports fan, and you meet him. He's got his shit together. He's good. He handles his business. He loves his wife. He takes care of things. He's, stays in shape. He, maybe goes and plays some sports on the weekends or whatever it is. That's someone you can respect much more. That guy is adding to your life because he's added to his life. And you got to think, what can I bring to the table that's going to, add to this guy's life? So there's the sports things, but am I acting in a way, am I becoming the caliber of friend or acquaintance that attracts the type of person I want? I've got to become that before I can really attract that. You don't have to become 100%. You're by no means going to be perfect at it. That's not what I'm talking about. But you got to think and have that idea in your mind as to what that looks like for you, so that you get out in the arena and you're out in the world and you're conducting yourself in a way that is going to, if you want to, act in this way, add to people's lives so that they can also then in return add to yours. Some guy that's just constantly drunk all the time and is always out late and chasing, that's not adding to your life. That's not being wholehearted. That's not this guy, being able to have a real good conversation besides sports. And maybe even when he talks about sports, it's not that great. So what I mean is having a better relationship. One example would be, you're a father and you've got kids, right? And you understand that you are the father. Now, we'll talk about, again, all this in much more detail in videos to come. I'm just going to touch upon this right now in this moment. But there are, that's your job, is to be the father, to be the parent, right? And that in that understanding, or in that title, there should be, at least in my world, and I think the world of people that are doing it right, is the understanding that you're the father, that children are going to disappoint you. Children are not necessarily a reflection of you, because children are learning. Children are growing, they're stretching, they're pushing boundaries, they're trying different things. They're going to screw up. They're going to say things that are mean. They're going to test you. So if they, you've heard kids say, like, I hate you, or I don't like you, or, I don't want to be around you. And I've literally watched parents get upset because of that and really bent out of shape. Well, they said this and they said they don't love me. And what? Yeah, because they're just going to do that, and they're going to say that, and they're going to test you on it. Now, if that's happening all the time, there's a problem and there's something else going on. But if, kids act out in certain ways, and also, this is dependent on their age, there's certain age appropriate acting out, just as, they learn to walk, talk, run, do certain things, they're going to learn to, they have a, bigger sense of freedom. As their world gets larger, they're going to expand in that world, and they're going to try different things. And it's up to you to teach them and guide them with understanding and the patience that you're the adult here. You're in charge. Everything's good. You don't need to be all just bent out of shape and compete with the child. So as you go through these things, as you're more self-confident and you trust yourself and you know who you are and you know what your boundaries look like with other people, and you've practiced these things and you've really got a good ingrained sense of who you are, somebody can come along, again, your child, a spouse, anybody, and say something that's maybe not right, and you don't freak out, you don't wig out, you don't react, you actually just stop, kind of let the words blow past you. Not that you don't hear them, but the words go past, and you look for the meaning. You're looking for, what are they really saying? What is really going on inside of them, and what was really meant by that? Even if it was something, hurtful, where is that coming from? Is it because they're frustrated about something else? I've had situations like that, where somebody is just acting really inappropriately, and then you find out, oh, their girlfriend had just dumped them or something like that. And I'm not saying that gives them carte blanche to act any way they can, but if they're not being, ridiculously unreasonable and crazy rude to you and just completely out of line and hurtful, but they're a little snippy, you can maybe look past that and go, hey, you know what? This isn't like you. Something's going on. What's up? Talk to me about it. And so that creates a better relationship. Back to your kids, creates a better relationship to them when they say those things to you, and you go, huh, okay. And you just kind of let it roll off, and you can maybe come back and go, wow, so, if you don't want to be around me, what do you think we should do? Right? I mean, you can kind of have a little fun almost with them and talk to them about it, and not to get them, but to just pick their brains a little bit and understand kind of where that line of thinking comes from. And you can just pull a little more and a little more out of them and just observe what you find. But you're not like in it and getting all bent out of shape. My daughter, who's 8 years old, she finally upped her sense of humor. Before it was knock knock jokes and what have you. And so I asked her how her day was. This is the other day. She'd gotten home, and it was right at the end of school. And she goes, "It was going good until Mommy dropped me off with you." And then she looked at me and she was like grinning and giggling and she was all excited and everything. And she's like, "Okay, I'm going to go out on a limb here. I'm going to kind of say this little insult, but I'm going to see how he reacts. And I'm just kidding." And I was like, "What did you say?" She just starts giggling and she ran and I chased her and we had a good time of it. She learned a sense of humor, or she learned how to give a joke, right? Because I kind of play with her in a playful way sometimes. Throw out a little something here and there, see how she reacts to it. I think that is kind of what dads do in a way as well. But, so she gave it back. And I think that's great. I think she's being raised to be able to have a little thicker skin, to be able to take a joke, to be able to give it back and not be a wallflower. So I think there's a lot of useful things going on in just that small interaction. But back to the list here, that is what I think creates better relationships all around. That was a bonding moment with my daughter. Okay, number 9, accomplish more in life. So how do you accomplish more in life? By being wholehearted, by having all these things down. Let me just reiterate, being a wholehearted man. You can see my first video that I put out as to explaining what being a wholehearted man is all about. But it's basically being able to be vulnerable and being able to be a real man, in my opinion, that is able to talk about these things. It's not, crying 24/7 and whining and being a wimp, but being able to actually stand up and being strong up here and not just necessarily strong in the muscles. So, being able to just be honest and be able to just really step up and have honesty and accept who you are, accept what's going on with just that understanding that this is it and this is what I have to deal with right now, and I'm going to figure it out and move on. So, you're accomplishing more in life. You're accomplishing more in life. Again, if we start to go back to number 1, you're building that self-confidence, you're building that stability. And as you have more stability in your life, things become a little easier for you. You're able to deal with conflicts better, and being able to deal with conflicts better leads into a better sense of peace in your life, because conflicts can be, again, an everyday thing, and then you're able to have a better way of dealing with these things, which leads to just a better sense of peace in your life. You're able to be happier, more centered. You're able to create and sustain a better relationships that are more fulfilling, which leads you to be able to accomplish more in life, because you're also able to have these more fulfilling relationships. You're able to then take those connections, that network of people, do more in your life. If you're so inclined to do more, you want to start your own business, you want to expand on something. It could be a hobby. It could just be the best dad you want to be. It could be whatever it is. But you're surrounding yourself with people that are kind of in line with where you want to be and what you want to do in life. And you're pushing that envelope, and you're with people that support you. So having all that allows you to accomplish more in life. You know who you are. You got that sense of peace. You're able to just put your mind to something and start making strides in that. Again, moving that ball down the field. And then as you start to accomplish more in your life, that leads into the ability to help others, to be of more service to others. So then that starts to complete the cycle, and you start to give back to the world. You start to give to others. Excuse me. And as you give to others, you're able to kind of receive back the joy of helping somebody else out. So you've kind of come full circle now. You can help somebody else and pass along certain knowledge and help them become more confident. You can help your friends, tell them you can do it. You can be behind them. Then they're behind you. You help instill confidence, a sense of peace in their life. They do the same for you. It becomes reciprocal. And then you're able to just help people more and be more of service to them. And that leads me to number 9. You end up making the world a better place to live. It really does start with one person at a time. It does. You can have Tony Robbins, you can have any of these people that are just wildly popular and successful and have helped, thousands, millions of people. But at the end of the day, each one of those individual people are responsible for themselves. They have to do the work, handle it themselves, make their lives better before they can go out and help everybody else, or go out and just be a more positive impact in the world by just being a better person. You're a person that goes out in the world and you're not causing trouble. You're not being a burden on society, and you're able to go and handle your business, handle your stuff, take care of yourself, take care of your family, then that's less pressure on the world. And then you're also an example to others who maybe aren't there yet or aspire to be. And if you're surrounded, the saying, a rising tide raises all boats, it's very true. If you become in an environment that is bringing you down, the tide is going out, the moral tide is going out, and you're sinking, and everything's going down around you. That's not a place, that's good for the human soul. If you're in a place where it's being, filled up and poured into, and people are starting to rise, and they're in a mindset that it's okay to help other people. They're not coming from a place of scarcity, but they're coming from a place of, there's plenty to go around, and they're not in competition, at least not in a negative, unhealthy competition. I do believe in healthy competition, but when they're in a healthy competitive nature that pushes one another to be better, and they also kind of have your back at the end of the day. We all stumble and fall sometimes when we need a little help. And I know that's happened for me. I've had friends help me, a few good times over my life. I've got one friend in particular that has been there for me like no other. So, that creates respect. That creates a better world when you're acting in this manner. So I'm going to post these 9 things down below. Let me know what you think of them. I'd love to hear your feedback. I'd love to hear any letters or anything. You can email me at thewholeheartedman@gmail.com. You can send your letters there, or john@johndo.com. You can send there as well. I'm working on websites and everything else, but I wanted to get these videos and start getting them cranked out and rolled out as I'm figuring out how to build everything else. So bear with me on that. But please, I'd like to hear from you guys. Leave comments below, subscribe, like, let me know what you think, and let me know the issues that you guys are dealing with. Again, I don't care if you're 12, 18, or 80. Let me know what's going on, and let's talk about these things, and I'll read them on the air. All right, thanks, and I will see you next time. Bye.